I don't know if by the time you watch this video, Al Franken will be a senator or not. I know that when we're filming it, he is a senator, but beyond that, I don't know. And here's why. We started off the day with the first of two more women accusing Al Franken of sexual misconduct, groping, and related activities. And we're gonna give you details on those right now. The first comes from Tina Dupuis saying, this is from The Atlantic, DC was decked out and packed in for the inauguration of a young and popular new president. The town was buzzing with optimism, and one of the many events on our list was a swanky Media Matters party with Democratic notables everywhere. Then I saw Al Franken. I only bug celebrities for pictures when it'll make my foster mom happy. She loves Franken, so I asked to get a picture with him. We posed for the shot. He immediately put his hand on my waist, grabbing a handful of flesh. I froze, then he squeezed at least twice. So that was the first, and then a little bit later on, a second additional accuser came out. A former Democratic congressional aide who had done a radio show with Al Franken and then had this experience immediately afterwards, saying, he was between me and the door and he was coming at me to kiss me. It was very quick and I think my brain had to work really hard to be like, wait, what is happening? But I knew whatever was happening was not right and I ducked. I was really startled by it and I just sort of booked it toward the door and he said, it's my right as an entertainer. So the additional women come out and then relatively early in the morning, other women start coming out. These women are Democratic senators and they begin what appeared to be a coordinated effort to put pressure on him to leave office. And so I believe Kirsten Gillibrand might have been the first, but Kamala Harris and a number of other female senators came out, joined eventually by male senators as well. The number passed 30. Initially, Chuck Schumer said that he was sort of waiting to find out more information. Then he too came out saying that while he respects Al Franken, respects his work and his accomplishments, he doesn't believe that it's possible for him to represent the people of his state, and so it would be in his best interest to step down as well. And then we find out from Minnesota Public Radio, if you bring up this tweet, you'll see the two sides of this. So in the first, Senator Franken is preparing to resign amid a cascade of calls. This is from a Democratic official unnamed who'd spoken to Al Franken and key aides. Senator Franken then responded to that saying that they had not made a final decision and it's expected that tomorrow something will come out.
So
it's complicated.
Yep. Just Democrats did a petition about this the minute the first story broke. It's graphic 50. It's justdemocrats.com/Franken, and I thought that it was a little premature, and I voted no, but I lost that vote, and it turns out they were right, and many more women have come forward, and look, I have my own issues with Al Franken, but they're only related around policy. I think that I was very hopeful about Al Franken because I worked with him briefly at Air America. I knew him just a tiny bit, barely at all, right? But I thought he worked at Air America. He wrote a great book. He was a really good progressive.
Aggressive against Bill O'Reilly and others.
Yes, that he was going to come out guns blazing. No, he came out and immediately went into a cave, in my opinion. And other than doing this to women, he didn't do much in his first term, in my opinion. I know some other progressives get mad at that, but look, I feel like progressives can fight really, really hard. They should be, Fox News should be attacking a progressive like Al Franken every day because he's fighting so hard for Medicare for all, so hard for $50 minimum wage. You go down the list, right? And no, he chose a well-worn strategy of, no, you don't say anything in your first term, you respect seniority, and if you make it through your first term without any controversies, then you're very likely to get reelected. But to what end? To what end?
Well, but then you could do it again.
I know, but to what end?
But then you could do it a third time.
Right. So when do you actually start fighting? And there were some, flashes of the old Al Franken that was on Air America when he did a pretty good job of cross-examining Neil Gorsuch when he was, and I would say,
and some others at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I would say actually that was his cross-examinations of some of these folks when they came up as Gorsuch did for the Supreme Court seat was probably the best stuff that he did.
With DeVos, I mean, it made for some amazing viewing.
Yeah, and look, I like to think that we're fair and give credit where credit is due, so we gave him a lot of credit for that. We did not give him, we took away credit when he would just hide and not fight for progressives. But those were my policy issues with him. And I thought that Just Democrats, they were doing the right thing. They were saying, hey, we got to protect women under any and all circumstances, and we can't tolerate this. And it turns out, yeah, we've now lost track of how many women have come out. I don't remember if it's 7 or 8, or now it's 9.
I think it's 9 as of today.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't believe that all of the Democratic senators have come out against him, but also the 2 independents, Angus King and Bernie Sanders, have also said that he should resign. Although notably the Republicans are playing a little bit safe. Perhaps we can get into why that might be, if it's not already obvious. Yeah, I think, look, I have the same sorts of issues with him in terms of not really accomplishing much. He hasn't really given Fox News much reason to attack him on a regular basis. In terms of whether the initial petition or the calls for him to resign initially were premature, I think people are entitled to whatever view they have. I think it might have been a little bit premature. I mean, the first woman that accused him said that she accepted his apology, and she specifically said that she did not want him to resign. Now, you can say it's not up to her, that's totally fine. You can say that you find it hard to imagine how he could represent you. I totally get that, and it becomes progressively harder with every additional woman that comes out. And I've talked with some liberals who feel like, considering the fact that while Democrats are taking this seriously in the past few weeks, since we on the panel actually predicted that this would start to hit Congress with Conyers and now Franken, the Republicans are apparently just not going to. They're not going to, and unilateral disarmament makes a lot of people really uncomfortable in a time when things are so close to split and the stakes are so high. But I told my friend, who I disagree with on a lot of issues, I consider myself a progressive because the core values I have inform my political behavior and my political preferences. And at some point, I have to have standards, not just for people I oppose, but for people I support as well. And how can you tell someone in Minnesota that they're wrong to think that this guy probably can't represent them when he has this long history going back before he was a senator and after of treating women in this very consistent way?
Yeah, so that's exactly why I hesitated, John. It's not because of the sexual harassment, that's terrible. It's because Democrats generally do unilaterally disarm. So now that's both a great thing and a bad thing. So the great part of it is you're supposed to do the right thing. So for Conyers to step down and Franken to step down, if he does, is the right thing. And I was for an ethics investigation immediately, of course, right? And I wanted to see what happened. Now we're up to 9 women, so we've got a good sense of what happened, right? So we're done with that. Of course he should resign, and whether it's Keith Ellison or anyone else, we should have a real progressive in Minnesota, and one that actually fights for us.
Maybe one of John Conyers' relatives.
Yeah, that's what Conyers wants, of course, in his seat in Michigan. So, but if they think it's an effective political strategy, and it looks like the Democrats are pushing out Conyers and Franken so that Republicans can't hit them on that anymore on cable TV when a week before the Roy Moore election, it will not be an effective political strategy. That's okay, they should do it anyway because it's the right thing to do, okay?
Yes, not pragmatically, but because it lines up with your values.
That's right, you should do it based on values, and I support that. But I think that they think like, oh, this will get the Republicans. We'll take out all the Democrats who've done the wrong things, and then they'll be forced to, no, they're not gonna be forced to do anything. They're just gonna laugh at you and go, ha ha, you idiots, you admitted it. And now we got rid of you guys, and no, we're gonna still do everything, and we're never gonna admit it. Roy Moore is never gonna admit it. Donald Trump is never gonna admit it. They're never gonna leave office, and we're not gonna do any of that. And this is the uneven playing field that we have, which drives me crazy.
I agree, that will definitely happen. I mean, if we found a child's body in Roy Moore's house, that would buy like 2 weeks of him not being funded by the RNC at this point. And I agree, there's probably some Democrats who are making that sort of pragmatic decision. But I think, especially with the coordinated, like the first 7 or 10 Democratic female senators who came out within minutes of each other. So it seems like they'd met up and talked about it. I don't think that they were motivated purely by political concerns. I think that they see this as this social movement that we have that is long overdue, finally coming to one of the places where it's perhaps been most due. And I think that they felt like they can be a part of attaining that change. And this is how you do that. They can't control Roy Moore or Mitch McConnell, but they can put pressure on people that on their side. And if that's what they can do, that's what they'll do.
Look,
and others as well, not just the female senators.
I don't begrudge them that, and of course I support their decision, like I just said, and I don't question why they're doing it. But I would be shocked if Democratic leadership didn't get together and think, oh, Kellyanne Conway on TV is saying that, oh, you got Franken and Conyers, and so let's just get rid of them, and then that'll help us make our case against Roy Moore. It won't. If you become a member of the Young Turks, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
So do it right now, tytnetwork.com/join. Get the whole Young Turks show every day.